and I want to start my own JoJo Tough Foundation. And I'm in the works of it. I got some of the right people in the right places, and others if they want to join too as well. I want to give back to, it doesn't matter what kind of cancer, it doesn't matter if you have leukemia or you have breast cancer or whatever. As much as you guys have all given me back life and joy, I want to give back to other cancer patients or during their remission, because I know the tricks and the trades and what they're going through. I mean, yeah, going to clinic every day for 2 to 12-hour days. Like yesterday, my mom and I had a 4-hour day at clinic. We've had 12-hour days out in Seattle when I was out there 2 years ago. And so instead of just going home all the time and just pondering and wondering if you're going to die or not, why not have the JoJo Tough Foundation provide you something fun? Like, I've had friends take me out horseback riding. I know people have horses. People have taken me out on fast car rides, or if they want to go on a motorcycle ride, like that's on their bucket list. And I know people in the motorcycle world.
This is the Buffalo Community Podcast, all about the greatest small town in the USA, the people in it, and how it all works together. Here are your hosts, Tyler Reiss and Mark Benzer.
Hey everybody, we are back with GI JoJo Tough again. Repeat offender here. Second Pete, that's a terrible introduction. Yeah. Sorry, Joe. Yeah, you deserve so much better than that.
Yeah, that sounded creepy. Especially nowadays.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, my bad. All right, yep. JoJo Tough. So, hey, thanks for coming in again.
Well, thank you guys for having me come back.
Absolutely.
Really got it, brother. It's been a while.
Always a pleasure. So.
Yeah. So, last year, we finally hit my 1 year. And so now I want to kind of recap with all of you guys and the rest of the town of Buffalo and let them know where I'm at. And we just posted a post on my JoJo Tough page yesterday of the effects of after cancer stuff. Mm-hmm. And so yes, we finally hit 1 year this past December 11th of 2021, which is great. Like, we finally made it. Awesome. Now I'm like, all right, I'm going to move on. I'm going to start, going back to work and getting things going. And so in the past, 6 months, though, I've been having eye issues. So meaning cloudiness. So, and I was like, all right. So I went back in September. I went to Pearl Vision before going to the clinic back over at the U of M. And they're like, yeah, you got cataracts, but it's not that bad. Just think about doing surgery later in the future. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. And then as the months went on, it got worse. And to the point where it was like, should I really be driving? And I'm super light sensitive.
Sure.
And it was just like, oh my gosh. And so then finally back in December, my mom and I went to the clinic and yeah, you got cataracts. I'm like, all right, I know that. And they told them the story. And then all of a sudden, they're like, well, you got graft versus host disease. Now, what graft versus host disease, as a recipient to my donors, so my sister and my brother were my donors over the past 4.5 years. And what graft versus host is where I'm the host, and then they're coming in, they're fighting off the cancer, which is great, but then you get these side effects. Meaning you can get gut issues, like just going to the bathroom a lot, or dry, itchy skin, which I had last year, or bloatiness back in April when I had my feet issues, I had neuropathy bad, I couldn't barely walk. And then, so that was a struggle. So then I was like, all right, cool. And then it simmered down and it was fine. It was great and enjoyed life and actually did what I wanted to do. And I traveled to 9 states in one summer last year. So I was like, all right, cool, I'm living my life. And then, like I said, all of a sudden this stuff just started happening. So now they gave me these prescription glass contacts, and so it's kind of a weird thing. So they gave me this solution that helps. So between the cataracts and the graft versus host disease, and what was going on is it would basically crystallize and feels like sand minerals in the back of your cornea and your retina, just rubbing on there.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And so that was causing a lot of, think about that every single day. and thinking like you got eye boogers, but you got eye boogers back here, which you can't get rid of.
Ouch.
Yeah, and so it was scarring and ripping the eyeball. And so now, with that being said, I have dry eye. So remember the whole Ben sign, like dry eye commercials, like
For dry, clear eyes.
yeah, right. You're like,
Right
okay,
eyes.
whatever. I'll never get dry eye. Well,
You got dry eye.
I got dry eye, and I'm sure many other people have dry eye because of other situations. But and also come find out. So 2 years ago, I had a rare pneumonia, and after I got out of the hospital, they gave me Predazone. So apparently, Predazone can cause you to have cataracts, and so that was another add-on.
So, catch me up here. So the cataracts weren't part of the
Graft
cancer
versus-
treatment.
no.
You're just like all right, medical condition. Whoosh, got Joe on it. Whoosh, whoosh, got Joe on it again. It's just like every single time you're just turning around, you're like, I can't catch a flipping break here.
No.
Besides beating, which is awesome.
Right.
But like it just left and right and left and right.
It was just like Predazone, like really, like a steroid.
Yeah.
Like, and so I went from being 60 milligrams to 45 last year, and then now it's down to 5. But now we're bumping back up to 45 because a couple of weeks ago, as some of you guys had read on my post, that I had some issues with my lungs, and it was kind of a scary moment. I had a kind of come to Jesus moment between that cold air that came in through a couple of weeks ago, came in and basically crystallized my lungs. And thank God I still had oxygen tanks at home when I came out of the hospital a year and a half ago. And I got on the oxygen tanks, but it was scary because I was on the phone with my folks. And so on top of having eye issues, now I'm having lung issues, which is like setting me back on a lot of things. So like, and I was going to actually just go back to work. I was going to work a couple days a week at Foss Swim School in Maple Grove or in Plymouth. Mm-hmm. But with my pneumonia and being around the chemicals and kids, probably not the best thing. Like, and so my doctor's like, like I know you want to get back to work and you want to be part of society and be normal, but your lung issues, like, not so good. And so now I'm back on that Predazone, and that's why they bumped it up to 45.
Sure.
And so that's part A right there.
Sure.
Now, part B, so over the years of doing different kinds of treatments, from chemo to therapy treatments to the CAR-T, 2 different versions, as much as it saved my life, and my siblings saving my life, being the donors, and which was great, and you know, I appreciate all of them, and appreciate all of you guys too as well for all of the support and the continued support. But it's eaten away to my cartilage in my shoulders. So for the past almost year, 8 months, I have trouble sleeping because I have no cartilage in there, and it's just bone on bone. Oof. And so it's just like basically like just grinding on each other. So I can get shots for them, like painkiller shots, but those only last for 3 to 4 months. And I keep doing it over and over, but what's the purpose of it? So coming in May, I have to get a whole new left shoulder. Oof. Yeah, so it's just like...
That's in May?
Yeah, it's in May. Yep, coming
Which should bring significant relief.
Correct.
Well, you know,
and that's a 6-week recovery.
Yeah.
And so, which is like going into summer, like, really? Like, summertime? Because I was hoping to get it done now, but they've been so backed up at the U and whatnot.
Are they giving you any upgrade options? Like,
yeah, like a Terminator.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're gonna make you robotic Joe. Jojo Tough is robotic.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Yeah. Yep, you are like Wolverine.
Yeah, exactly.
You just recover and re-heal.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Cool. When am I going to do my right one?
Do I get like flashers come out? But but in the meantime, over my 4.5 years, I've learned about foundations. And I've learned about foundations beforehand, but I really want to move forward with it. And I want to start my own JoJo Tough Foundation. And so what I would, and I'm in the works of it, I got some of the right people in the right places and others if they want to join too as well. But I want to give back to, it doesn't matter what kind of cancer, it doesn't matter if you have leukemia or you have breast cancer or whatever. And as much as you guys have all given me back life and joy, I want to give back to other cancer patients or during their remission, because I know the tricks and the trades and what they're going through. I mean, yeah, going to clinic every day for 2 to 12-hour days. Like yesterday, my mom and I had a 4-hour day at clinic. We've had 12-hour days out in Seattle when I was out there 2 years ago. And so instead of just going home all the time and just pondering and wondering if you're going to die or not, why not have the JoJo Tough Foundation provide you something fun? So like you guys have all taken me, I've had friends take me out horseback riding. I know people have horses. People have taken me out on fast car rides, or if they want to go on a motorcycle ride, like that's on their bucket list. And I know people in the motorcycle world, and so or teach them or guide them how to raise money, because they tell me that they're fine. I mean, honestly, like, oh, I'm fine. It's like my insurance isn't covered. Okay, so I'm over $1 million. I mean, million, but at the same time, I've been gifted a grant through the state, which has helped me out a lot. But others, I know they say they're fine, but what about your day-to-day stuff? Like your living or your kids' stuff? Like, your medical bills are going to be covered. What about,
your food bills,
your food bills, your rent, or your mortgage?
Kids sports or whatever.
Correct. And so, as much as it sounds exhausting, but having benefits, I mean, as you guys know, I've had 5 benefits. And so those literally help dearly. I mean, it doesn't matter if you get $30,000 or you get a couple $100,000, whatever benefits, those are going to help you out. Or in the past couple of years, and especially just recently for my friend Ashley Adams, she has breast cancer, and she's doing great. She's being a rock star and everything. She's just powerful, and she's moving forward. She's staying super positive. But I surprised her and her boyfriend with making T-shirts, kind of like this one, but it's pink.
Yeah.
And Jason Senslin over at A Plus Performance made them for him. But now she's going to try to do some other stuff too, so she's moving forward with that too as well. But making T-shirts, I mean, you sell these things for $25 a piece, man, like people are going to buy 5 of them for their family or 10 of them.
Yeah.
And that's going to give you up. Or my JoJo Tough bracelets, like over the past 5 years, like we've made 5 of them, and you sell those $5 a piece, people are going to buy like 20 of them and send them out.
Yeah.
And so there's just a lot of opportunities which I want to show and guide people, be more of an advocate for these people.
Do you find that, I mean, those patients, you say, yeah, we're fine. I mean, how many times did you say, I'm fine, knowing you weren't, like...
Financial?
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, go back. I mean,
Okay.
You tell people, the cancer patient, like, hey, I'm fine, medical, that stuff. I mean, you were in that situation, and I'm sure you probably would have maybe answered a different way of just like, maybe I could have had some help here, but you're breaking that barrier down for them.
Correct.
Saying.
So when I was first sick, actually, I was working, I was doing landscaping, and I was close to having my insurance, because it was like a 6-month period where you work with them and then you start getting your insurance covered, right?
Yeah.
And I wasn't quite there yet, so that was another reason why I didn't want to go in 4.5 years ago, because I didn't have insurance. I didn't want to go see doctors. I'm like, but people are like, Joe, you look like death. Like, you need to go in. And if it wasn't for my mom, like, and many others people, but my mom, like, I made an appointment for you. You're going in no matter what. Yeah. If you don't show up, I'm firing you. So, and then like Cabela's too as well. like, hey, like, you got to take a day, like a couple days off, because you look like you're dying.
Yeah.
And so, but more or less, it sounds overwhelming when people are like, oh, we got to make T-shirts, or we got to make hats, or, bracelets. Like, it sounds like way too much. But yeah, at the same time, use your army. Use that person that's in your corner. So say, Mark, you're like, Joe, you know what? So you don't have the burden, because you're already going through everything else. I'm going to start making the bracelets, and then getting someone else to help me out and send them out So like my friend Carrie, she had some friends help her out and send out the bracelets and got addresses from people and all that. And then, like I said, and then putting my shirts online. And so it was great as well. But I mean, at the same time, like that actually helps out too as well. So there's a lot of corners that you shouldn't cut going through cancer. Like take advantage of having benefits. Take advantage of making T-shirts or bracelets or whatever that can help support you and get you some extra dough in your pocket. But also, I want to show them how to have fun. You know, like, yeah, it's a minor matter game, really is. But sometimes you can't always control everything. So over my years, I've lost a lot of friends, especially in the past 3 months. You know, I've gotten close to a lot of friends, and so like I've had friends, you know, pass away and family members pass away through cancer, but it wasn't the cancer that killed them. It was an infection. And I've had all of those. So I had, the past 3 months was tough because I had that survival guilt on myself because it's like, I went through all that. I had all these infections. I had this and that. Like, how are they passing away? Now how am I still here?
Sure.
I think we talked about it last time. I mean, like, it's no offense. How are you still here? I mean, it's five times cancer than COVID.
Power prayers.
Yeah.
Power prayers. But at the same time, they're getting the power prayers too. But at the same time, like, you know, it's just one thing or the other. Like my friend Jeremy, who I surprised down in August, down in Austin back in August, he was cancer free for a year and a half. And then after I left in August, 5 days later, his cancer came back. And then, so his cancer went from 90% before he passed away 3 days before Christmas. He was at 20%, but he had an infection in his nose, and they were trying to do some scraping, and that's what killed him. And then a friend of mine named Lauren, who went out to California for treatment, the treatment basically, I think, took her life. And then my friend, and then a week after that, so like basically like between like January and February, was really rough because this kid named Tyler, 16 years old, he died of pneumonia. So when I had my lung issues, that's what I was thinking. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, and last year I had the same kind of scenario as him, but I got home fast enough. But for him, he was 16 years old and knew that he wasn't going to live, which was super sad, and it was like super hard. And so when I was going through my lung issues, that's all I could think about was him throughout that. I'm like, I gotta push. Like, I gotta be like Tyler, just get to the next level. Like, I gotta get my oxygen. Like, and because it was scary because I was on my phone with my folks almost saying goodbye because I was like, and I had thought about like Tyler the whole time. Like, I was like, I'm not saying goodbye to my parents. I'm not saying goodbye to anyone. Like, I'm gonna get there. But it took a while. And so, but more or less, you know, the power of prayers, I think you guys all helped me out, which I appreciate. And really, like I said, during this whole, 4.5 years, like, your Army does have your six, believe it or not.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they're, 100 miles away or if they're 30 miles or 10 miles away or just in town. And so, but it's a crazy step. But like I said, with my foundation, I want to be that leader and show them the way. So hopefully, during my whole shoulder stuff and eye stuff and getting the cataracts done, I can get this on the ground. And then I was actually just earlier this week, I had dinner with some friends who run part of a church over in Brooklyn Park at Living World. And I want to start a support group as well for any kind of cancer. Just have like a one-on-one, well, not like necessarily one-on-one. Like it can be 5 people show up or 10 people,
right.
And we're going to call it Cookies, Coffee, Cancer Conversation.
Sure.
And so I'm going to try to get that up and going here pretty soon here as well. We're going to re-meet with him on Friday at their office over there in Brooklyn Park and just talk to, hear about people's stories and what they're going through and they're battling. And just a volunteer thing.
Yeah.
It's not like a paid thing. Like, I just want to volunteer my time and give back and hear about other people's stories. And then eventually, if it grows, hear about their caretakers. So, yeah, for example, yesterday I was spent the night at my parents' house. I live out in New Hope, but I spent the night over here because I was going to be here, and so I got to see what my mom's side. So she has 2 dogs. So she's got to get up, at 7 o'clock, get the dogs out, get breakfast going. And then all of a sudden we were out the door by 8 o'clock, and we had to be out to Medina, drop the dogs off at doggy daycare, and then do a bunch of running around before clinic. And then once we got the clinic, like, all right, we're kind of sitting ducks, but then all of a sudden we're getting things going. And then I had my 48th bone marrow biopsy. And what a bone marrow biopsy is, imagine someone taking like a drinking straw, and they, it's a needle rod, and then they grind in your lower back hip area.
You got a great way of describing these things to make people really uncomfortable. Keep going, with sandpaper and then the grinding.
Yeah.
Keep going. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Go ahead.
No worries.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then they take this needle rod, and then they grind out a core of your lower, not your spine, but your hip area, and your back hip area, and they grind out any core bone, and then they pull it out. And so in my 4.5 years, that's number 48. But and so it went well. I had some issues on the past couple ones. Let's just say I had a handle broke off on one, and that was like a 20-minute deal of trying to get that out. And then I had one that shot out like a water fountain. Yeah, sure. Crazy stories. I know, but more graphic. But that's a side note. Sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
But this one went really well, and then we're gonna find out results on Tuesday, hopefully. But like I said, cancer, it does suck, and it's alarming, and I just want to get that word out. Like literally, as much as your power of prayers, as many people know people that have cancer, get out there and help them, support them, call them, text them, send them whatever. I mean, you guys have made this journey in the 4.5 years fun. Not me, you guys. You guys have made this fun. I know it sounds crazy to say that.
Yes. You know what I find most amazing about that? I mean, you're talking 48 bone marrow biopsies, the surgeries, the cancer diagnosis, all of the infections, everything. You're very selfless. You were thinking about Tyler. You don't shy away from talking about this, which is usually could be a very we don't want to talk about it. It's a touchy subject, but it seems you find it very easy to share that story, to open that door for somebody else to get that courage
that's what I'm trying to say. Doesn't matter. Like I said, childhood cancer, that's a tough one, and then, but as an adult, mid-adult, or even as our parents. That's even tougher because they're like, I'm old now. I don't need this support. I don't need my friends are all dying. No, we're gonna keep you till you're 100 years old. We want you around till you're 100. You're not going anywhere, Dad or Mom, or Grandma, Grandpa. You're gonna make it to 100.
Yeah.
Even if you make it to 120.
Sure.
I mean, I might, but because I'm the biamic JoJo Tough. But,
exactly. But legs here soon.
But more or less, just get out and reach out to that person. Make them feel special. You guys have done that. Honestly, I couldn't tell you. My condo looks like a museum of JoJo Tough stuff that I've gotten. I've gotten wrestling belts, as you've seen, from a lot of people around here. I have my own flag, my truck stickers. I have 2 fishing rods with my name on them, and just you guys have taken me on an adventure. Even though this was a crappy adventure, this was actually a fun adventure, and which actually that's what brought me up to be more positive. I mean, I've always been a positive person, but through this whole cancer thing, there's no quitting. There's no giving up. It's a mind over matter game. Yeah, there's some things you can't control, But at the same time, like as much as it came back 5 times, yeah, it was tough to hear. Like, nope, you're just gonna pull your pants back up, start marching through. Yeah, and it went from being a blood cancer to having a tumor pushing on my brain. I had a tumor in my neck, to having these spots, they call them clamoras, around my spine, to making actually in 2019 into my spinal cord between like C4, C6. Yeah, it was tough to hear all that. At the same time, it's like, all right, we're just giddy up, get back going, get on that path, and keep fighting and marching through.
Sure.
And so it's a whirlwind, but like I said, I just want to advocate and voice out that don't be afraid about telling people about your cancer. I mean, over the years before being sick, I've seen people like, oh, my dad or my grandma or grandpa got cancer, like, oh, praying. But now, after seeing what you guys have done, and before it's like my cousin Chelsea, my cousin and I and my buddy and I, we did a Tough Mudder in honoring her name, and that just blew up. So it was like, oh my gosh. And now the Jojo Tough thing just blew up. And so I just want, other people to feel as special as I've felt special.
Sure.
And like I said, I mean, yeah, it's a crazy word to hear, like you've got cancer. Mm-hmm. Oh, geez. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. No, you're not going to die. You're going to power through it. You're going to make things happen. People are going to help you. They're going to help you cross that finish line. It doesn't matter if it takes 2, 3, 4, 5 times. They're going to help you make you get that finish line. And they're going to support you. They're going to, make you feel special. And so that's what I'm basically trying to say is reach out to those people. And also with other people's mind stuff of like, it's a whirlwind.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So do you have a question?
No, I was just gonna touch base on go back to the foundation kind of as we're wrapping up here. Okay,
Yep.
So you mentioned that you're working with the right people to get this foundation started, but is there a way people can help out? Are you at the funding stage of a foundation or more in the early
Not yet.
planning
in
stages?
The early planning stages.
Yeah.
So I have to do the 501c3 stuff and get all the paperwork first going.
Sure.
Is there a player you need?
What's that?
Is there a player
I got some players right now.
Okay.
And so I've got those all intact. I just have to start doing the paperwork.
Yep.
And then eventually, hopefully by the summer, get the ball rolling and putting it out there.
Sure.
And making like a whole page, so people can find me and whatnot.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. Sounds like you got a great team of people.
Yep.
And I know that we could talk for hours, right?
Yep.
Right. Up against the clock a little bit, but
Right.
Anything as we kind of wind things down here today, you're inspirational.
Thank you.
We're awesome. It's awesome to have you back. It probably won't be the last time that you're on the podcast with us. So another opportunity to.
Just saying, hey, I just want to say thank you to everyone out here in the city of Buffalo and the surrounding areas too as well. And thanks for the support. And reach out to those ones and make them feel special as well. And as much as you guys have all made me feel special. So thank you and appreciate it. And Tuesday, we'll get great results.
Sweet.
Perfect.
Awesome.
We're looking forward to that.
Cool beans.
For the Buffalo Community Podcast, I'm Tyler Reiss.
I'm Mark Benzer.
Joe Motlow, Jojo Tough.
Woo!
Thanks for listening to the Buffalo Community Podcast, produced by Edlund Media. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube, as well as anywhere you listen to podcasts.